So this is another triple guild war. This is the first week of preseason, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday's war. First guild war versus Grimwar, and this is Luluca. In these fights, I'm mainly experimenting with potential like new heroes, so heroes that I wouldn't usually use, or it might not be the right thing here. But generally, I mean, these are like, I think slightly lower rank guild compared, so I wanted to test, like for example in this one, Landy. This is Landy pre-buff, and her buff is coming soon if you're watching this video. Depends on when you watch it, it could be here, but if you're watching it right now, like at the point of this video recording, then she doesn't have her buff yet. But mine's already like sort of invested in terms of Mola and stuff, so I wanted to give her a shot here. She is with Guiding Light right now, and this is Guiding Light pre-buff as well. Landy ideally still needs an attack buffer on the outside to really shine. This is pre-buff and post-buff. But without an attack buffer, she technically gets an attack buff passive, which it will be permanent, which is good. So unstrippable, but it takes time to ramp up. In her new version though, she's gonna get stronger, so it's like everything you do here is like only a taste of what she will become, which is pretty amazing to me.
Alright, let's have some fun.
Yeah, and like last Reddit across says, let's have some fun. That's exactly what the mentality for this was. I don't use my Ruel a lot, I haven't, at least in Guild War. And the Tesha Red costs 200 speed.
You could try a little harder.
And Malkrau, still very disgusting hero. Yeah, I get that Lilius thing, but the Guiding Light is supposed to kick in and, you know, not really affect me. My Landy in this fight is not a Bruiser. It's like pure DPS, 300, like 3.5k attack, something like that, and then 300 crit damage. So when she hits hard. And again, I think it's not max Mola S3 at the moment, max Mola S1, and not max Mola S2 because I'm running out of Mola. But I feel that she's going to have a really strong place in the meta, and like not gonna be like a meta changer, but she's definitely gonna fit in the meta. No matter which way the game goes, in terms of like if you're talking about RTA, GVG, anything, like even arena, she'll fit into the Bruiser meta, and if you need her as a DPS, I think she'll fit as well. But I think she is probably better kitted to work with Bruisers, like tanks, damage mitigation, defense buffers, that kind of stuff. So first fight took a long time, of course, bring Earth to a fire hero, Fire Knight. Second one, there's a Moonlight Dreamblade RB. I kind of figured, like right now on defense, it's still better in a way to go Moonlight Dreamblade because of the RNG.
I hate getting hurt.
I made a mistake that I didn't bring my book, so therefore the strip didn't happen on the crawl. I think he was on Violin, which is what I usually run if I'm doing Azimanic runs. But still, it would have been relatively safe. Immortality on Singelica, and if Vildred did die, let's say to cross S3, then he at least has one life. Yeah, it was on I Love Lillian. You can see that.
Whose turn is it today?
I'm leveling Basar in Azimanic. Leveling his friendship in Azimanic 13, so that's it for the first fight.
That was nothing.
Second fight, here we go.
Teach me. Give up already. You'll lose.
Broman Tenebria,
Now it's my
and RB. This one's a bit risky. Like usually if there's FCC, I always think about placing Basar in there. High, you know, counter versus FCC is Basar. But Broman doesn't necessarily do what Basar does, since again, you saw there, no ignore effect resist, and the silence is not 100%. So it's not the same. It's deadly when the silence lands and if you get the strip, but it's not the same. Here was really bad just because again the FCC was not stripped, therefore I couldn't put her to sleep either. I couldn't silence her, so that skill null basically it's free damage on his side, on Master Violet side. I would say this one was like very scuffed, but again, if you're playing Guild War, you're watching this and you're trying to learn anything from me, cleaving is always risky. So you're like I was going through multiple levels of RNG here, and then not knowing their speed tuning is another layer. You're taking a very big gamble. In this fight, I will go with my tank RB. As I foresaw that this could have happened. I just didn't expect to lose every single hero. So you're just like, okay, wait a minute. How do I get out of this one? Now, I'm just gonna say like this was really bad.
I'll be your opponent.
Like gear wise, I think Master Violet has like decent gear. It wasn't like a fact of me being outgeared or I'm outgearing them. It was definitely more so RNG, and the RNG kind of mudslided or cascaded down. That was a really fast SSB also. I was surprised. Probably a speed set SSB there. And then this one, it was hilarious too. So I'm gonna say right here where I made a mistake is that Luluca's cleave, that AoE, should have already gave me a tell on how tanky that RB is. Alright, so I'm gonna spoil it now that I don't end up winning this one. But I made a misplay. So C-Dom Soul Burn is very strong, but without Soul Burn, she's actually not that strong. So you see, I didn't kill the RB in time, which is just, it was a bit risky here. So I had to basically, yeah, I couldn't kill RB now because he revived AoE, everyone's dead. So I had to go for someone else. I think there's two mistakes. One, C-Dom, I didn't I didn't chip down RB with C-Dom. That could have killed with Pavel, and Pavel's S3 would have killed RB. The second mistake was I went with the S3 on Pavel on Cleary, even though I didn't really need to do it, because I could have reset. You know, her instead, and I could have saved the S3. So everyone's blind here, and this is the big problem. I hit Zerato, so that's lucky. But if I was blinded and I still had Pavel's S3, there's a higher likelihood I could have killed him here. But he had Alexa's, and they would have done more damage than C-Dom there. And he was still faster, so yeah, this one ended up being really bad. I don't know why I yielded that one, because technically I wouldn't be able to use C-Dom anyway. I guess I was thinking potentially Ox slots J-Kisei C-Dom if I needed it. Anyways, that was pretty bad. It was just a misplay on my side. Yeah, so I'm setting up for the last fight. I'm just gonna commentate on that last one again. I know, I mean, it's funny. People want to see me in. They say it's called content, right? It's okay. But again, I think, I mean, one thing for if you're watching this and you're watching my Guild War videos, to learn like anything from it, like honestly, I think it's really to familiarize yourself with how strong if you did like an opener like my Luluca there, how relatively strong your opponent's defense and HP is based on how much damage you do on that S3. So in that one, I hesitated the C-Dom, if you guys did notice. I did hesitate the C-Dom who to attack because I saw the RB HP and I'm like, that's not low enough. Like, he's not squishy, but I was still afraid to accidentally. One thing about C-Dom is that even if you do chip damage, if you do a salty dual attack, it's really bad. So either way, I misplayed that. That one with a Falcon or Cleary, usually people just default to a Crow, like high resistance Crow, and if not, he still probably wouldn't die. Crow, and then somehow maybe extinct the RB. In that fight, in my opinion, it could have been pretty easy with someone like ML Luluca, Crow, and like an Oxlots. And I think that would have been it. Granted, if that RB wasn't on, like, if the RB was on Moonlight Dreamblade, that would be a totally different thing. But anyways, enough of that. But it's just like things to consider there. But of course, you'd have to have ML Luluca. Anyways, we're going for Pothead Meep. So in this fight, instead of using a C Armin, I wanted to do a bit more damage over time. So in this fight, I could have used C Armin instead of ML Crow, but I just wanted to do more damage, like I said. I didn't think it would be a big risk without C Armin. C Armin wouldn't do as much damage, but you have more damage mitigation in general. It was on Aliyah's knife. It didn't crit, otherwise that should have hit pretty hard there. Even without an attack buff, it should have like cut down a lot more. Maybe up to 50% HP or less.
I'll show you what I've got.
Why don't you just surrender?
I like ML Crow's voice.
Let's advance together. Give me strength.
So here, I wasn't actually expecting the full heal on the ML Crow. Making SSB the lowest HP, which is my primary damage dealer. But I needed to do it because I knew that Kayron had an attack buff and Aliyah's knife, so I had to make sure that he was safe. The good thing is that even if Crowd did kill my SSB or anyone else, my ML Crow should have been an okay damage dealer, because self attack buff and heal turn cycle okay.
I will guide you through the light. You beautiful beings. Death is your
I think people are now running higher HP ice crows now and not focused as much on effect resist. I think that's how people are doing it in RTA high end. I might be wrong though. I think it's high speed, high HP now
This is what the goddess wills.
for the defense buff.
I'll show you how I do things.
Yeah, I mean ML Crow is just cool to use, but yeah, without AoEs reducing his cooldown, he becomes kind of slow. Yeah, the Moonlight Dreamblade RB. So yeah, a lot of people are running this now. It's hard to predict. You'd have to have scouts in your guild war or in your guild to help with that.
I wanna rest.
There are flaws in Moonlight Dreamblade RBs too, but
Your light.
as in they'll hit weaker, a lot weaker
Your opponent.
than Alexa's RBs. But in this case, he did it right because I think for this team, it's better off being a Moonlight Dreamblade.
Bye bye now.
Follow me.
It did stun my RB, which kind of sucked.
Can I go home?
The SSB was pretty squishy.
Let's get warmed up.
My RB was too slow.
I hate getting hurt.
I think, yeah, it was the last fight, but so I would lose my Syngelica here. But it's okay.
Insignificant.
Let's get warmed up. Time to put an end to this.
And that was that. So that's the Guildwars versus Grimwar.
That was nothing.
We're gonna move on to the next one. So this is the first war in preseason. The first Guildwars versus Minerva. Forgive my mouse clicking if you hear it. When I recorded this, I forgot to mute the mute my mic. Again, playing with some Landy, as in the previous war. I couldn't even kill anyone. I was like, feels bad. My Mola S3 is not maxed, as I said in the previous war, even at this point. It's not because I'm not willing to. In fact, it would be one of the best skills, but it's not high priority for me the way I'm using her at the moment. But eventually it will be. So matchmaking has been really weird. This is the second guild war in preseason. So we climbed up a bit, but using my remnant vial. Honestly, I don't even know what I was doing here.
Pitiful resistance
I was just doing like random stuff.
ends here.
I think I remember I failed to kill Luna. She was pretty tanky actually. I was deciding who to reset. I ended up going for Robbie, which is kind of weird actually. I don't know how to think about it. It should have been Kayron, but I think it's because I saw Kayron's speed tuning that he was going first, so like it didn't matter. Like because he will S3 into a skill and all.
Fear is how others
That's it for Spacey. Second one, Frank Gertie.
I'll show you my ability. Take this.
This one's honestly just a speed contest.
Cannot resist.
This one was a bit more interesting, but it was a really good Pavel one because you can hit the ML Ken and you can guarantee the kill on ML Ken without really worrying.
I'll hunt you down. I will not miss. Engaging the enemy.
I decided to just save the S3 there. Don't need to watch the long animation. It resisted, which is feels bad, but it didn't really matter. But
Enemies neutralized.
so that was it for Frank Gertie. Not much commentary there. Simp for Watame. Sadly, I actually know what that means. Sadly. Anyways, another Landy fight. This one I went with Rose to get the CR boost and Ruel in case things get tricky. But Cigarette would have gone and attacked Rose or Ruel, would have avoided the Landy. So it was a relatively safe one.
I'll show you my power.
It did stun, get the right stun there.
I'm sure fortune will be on our side today as well. Shall we play a Battlefield's protector? Why not surrender?
So went with the push on Rose because they still had attack buffs. So it would have given me full fighting spirit on my Landy.
Fortune will favor us.
So this ended up being a little long because very, very tanky.
Don't let your guard down.
Tanky at General Pergius. I think it was on Proof of Valor.
For Felicia.
Yeah, it was on Proof of Valor.
Fortune will be on our side today as well.
I can't wait for Landy's buffs at this point. Like I actually can't. Like she's gonna be really cool to use.
Shall I stretch my muscles a bit? Fortune will favor us. Leave it to me.
I won't lose to anyone.
This one another speed contest.
Now's my time to shine.
Focus on this battle.
And that was it for this Guild War. This is versus Minerva. Second Guild War of Preseason. And this is why I'm combining these together. This is versus Nocturne. And got my ML Luluca, I think, on Wednesday night. So after the Minerva Guild War. So I got my ML Luluca, and if you guys watched that video, I built her right away. Molded her. Not fully molded yet. Her S2 is not maxed, S1 is not maxed, but S3 is maxed. I've already, you know, predicted she'd be really good with Athletica and very good in Guild War especially. And this, I mean, these fights will prove it as well. Like conceptually this will work even a higher end guild, but Nocturne is not terrible. I think they, at least gear quality wise, probably top 30, maybe top 40 guild. At this point I think we climbed up to because the 2 previous wins on the Guild War, I think we were about like rank 60 something. So that's probably where they are at the moment in this war. That Luluca's ML Luluca is really good in the compressed fights, so GVG especially.
I'll show you my ability.
This one I went with the Ruel in case that BBK was Moonlight Dreamblade counter. I ended up killing her there. I think she probably was on a portrait. It wasn't on Moonlight Dreamblade. And I didn't really feel that I probably didn't need to speed contest the Bazaar there. So otherwise I would run an imprint if I knew that Bazaar was really fast. Second fight, just Geary. This one I wanted to do just to prove that Cerise's buffs, again, won't be super helpful when she gets buffed. Like, so she hits my Bazaar here, but Bazaar is usually pretty fast. So depending on who you team her up with in your Guild War, the dev buffed Cerise may not make or break your fight. Bazaar is ultimate, like, super good counter towards Cerise. And I know that he has a Tywin here to kind of make the Bazaar irrelevant. But Bazaar, I used him there because the guaranteed pushback more than the unbuffable in this fight. So I get the early cleave, but it didn't matter because the immortality wouldn't be stripped here.
Let's get warmed up.
Lucky that I had a turn with the Bazaar. Otherwise, Tywin's speed down and stun, I mean, together is still pretty annoying, especially with such a high speed hero like Cerise. And in Tywin, stealing souls isn't super helpful either.
Whose turn is it today?
So my primary thing was to kill off Cerise since the RB had not died, and so I couldn't risk my immortality leaving. So she was one of the highest priorities. Moonlight Dreamblade on RB, and it killed my Singelica. Speed tuning wasn't great, so I couldn't even get the kill because he had Moonlight Dreamblade. Luckily, I did. Again, I was playing it cautious, and I'm like, yeah, I think a Bruiser RB would be better here. So I opted for that, which is the right call. I was considering using a DPS one, but I ended up thinking that no, this is probably better. So I lost 2 of my usual Guild War heavy hitters. This Guild War is, again, I mean, every time I see this comp, I keep testing this team that I'm using. The Specteni ML Ken Crow. I just want to see if it holds any weight. As you see in this fight, I'm going to commentate on this. You saw in this fight, Crow went first, then Specteni, right? So, I mean, I wanted to put it to the test. We're going to fight another one after. That's going to be a different speed tuning, and it still worked. So, I'm just going to, allow you guys to watch it. But if you guys follow my Guild War videos, you guys know that I think this defense is dead, especially if you have these heroes. It's very solid. I haven't seen a speed tuning that can work. And I think it's 100% win rate at the moment. So I haven't lost one. But every time I see it, I test it. Just in case you guys are in, like, I would say, like, maybe mid-tier Guild Wars, there's still run defense comps that they could maybe get easy wins from, like, other guilds or whatever. But I wanted to show this because I think it's important. When people are, like, on, like, a cookie cutter team too much, it's really good to see what takes it out, so you know when to shift. So that was just Gary's. The last one, the Lazy Ninja. So Lazy Ninja's second team, you guys see there. Oh, Emma Luluca again. Again, two soul weavers, or sorry, not soul weavers, 2 mages. And this one I opted to go with a book. I'll be making an ML Luluca feature video later. I know there's other stuff out there, but if you guys want my edition or my thoughts on it, I'll be talking about it. And one of the flexibility is honestly being a mage. So much access to so much really good artifacts and for different types of fights. This one, of course, with the extra book, so CDOM gets the soul burn on Charles, and technically I didn't really need an extra book. It would have been probably safer going with Oath Key, but I took the gamble. The extra souls means CDOM gets another soul burn, which is instant delete for Lilius, or I can soul burn twice with ML Luluca, which means also heavy damage. but CDOM Soulburn is 3 times mod, so it's super good, 3 times the damage, or 300%. So this one I wanted to show this because the speed tuning is probably the worst here. So where to hit my Vivian, which is technically the squishiest, but also not. When I said squishiest, I put it in finger or air quotes rather. If it hit Kayron, it would have been okay. He could have countered my counter Kayron. But I wanted to show it because that Vivian, as long as you build Vivian kind of bruisery but high damage, and I have a showcase video on my Vivian build if you guys want to see that. It's in another video. But it should be fine. Spectenny without attack buff still count 1 shot of Vivian, like from a standstill. Again, no Aureus, no Adamant Shield on my side, no defense buff up at that turn. The Crow being slower than Spectenny would have been the only thing that was a risky thing, because if Spectenny went for Vivian, like I said, and killed her, but that's it. That's pretty much it. If it goes for Lencia, it wouldn't have killed her. Alright, so that was it for Nocturne to Guild War, but also the combination of all 3 Guild Wars for the first week of preseason. Just gonna do these just to, you know, see if I can put in any new heroes. But for the video recording, I'm gonna end here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.